给我瞄准了打！
他是国际擂台最嚣张的选手没有之一，天狂必有雨，人狂必有祸，出来混早晚都是要还的。他叫佩奇，绰号毒液，是史上最猖獗的一位选手。和他对战的每一位选手对他的印象都非常的深刻，很多人看不惯他，却又干不掉他，这就让他的对手感觉到又生气又对他无可奈何。还有就是佩奇击倒对手之后从不补刀，要么对手倒地不起陷入深度昏迷，要么重新站起来继续接受佩奇的摧残，打爆对手的脑袋，掰断对手的大腿，这些都是常有的事情。佩奇的打法实在是太诡异了，就连他自己都不清楚下一秒要打出什么样的招式。残忍的拳头和嚣张的气焰，打得对手直接弃赛投降，不打了，不打了，不能再打了，再打下去恐怕受伤的就不只是脑袋了。14连胜的战绩让本就嚣张的佩奇变得更加猖獗，肆无忌惮。俗话说八角笼中没有永远的常胜将军，只有不断更新的排名。以嚣张著称的佩奇并没有放低身段和道格拉斯和平相处，而是继续用嚣张的姿态与道格拉斯展开激烈对拼。别人打比赛都是用正脸看向对方，然而佩奇只让对方看到他的侧脸，并且还在猛压道格拉斯，时时刻刻都在发起主动进攻。看来佩奇想快速拿下15连胜，证明自己。
Both fighters feel that while it will be a tough fight, that Roy McDonald should advance to the final with that welterweight championship. But tonight it's all about Lima and Page, and Lima coming forward slowly, knowing full well that the self-proclaimed snake charmer is going to try to mesmerize and hypnotize Lima, but I don't think a veteran like Lima will.
佩奇内心非常清楚，站在他面前的这位是一位柔术高手，并且还连续蝉联了多年的巴西柔术冠军，地面缠斗技术高超，柔术摔跤的经验丰富充足。不过道格拉斯并没有急于邀请佩奇进入到地面缠斗，而是和佩奇在栅砾上晃荡了一会儿。然而佩奇也没有闲着，脚下的步伐就像是在跳舞一样灵活，貌似随时都能给道格拉斯来一套组合进攻。面对眼前这位傻不拉几的大傻哥，道格拉斯表现得非常冷静，根本不会因为佩奇的挑衅而丧失理智。
Precise as a jeweler, and its timing makes metronomes envious, John.
I will tell you, when a guy has his hands down low, it is very difficult to see. When your hands are up, it's hard to see some of the shots that'll come up from that range. Now, obviously, his chin is out there, and he is open to be hit.
比赛时间很快就过去了2分钟，道格拉斯一直处于半防守状态，说他是处于防守吧，但道格拉斯一直在压制着佩奇，说他是主动进攻吧，但道格拉斯的防守一直都很严密。总体来说，道格拉斯要是一直保持这个状态，那绝对会给佩奇制造巨大威胁。平时嚣张跋扈的佩奇此时变得很老实，就知道在擂台上晃来晃去，却不敢对道格拉斯发起太过猛烈的主动进攻。
By Douglas Lima here in round 1.
And that right there, that was Venom Page feeding Douglas Lima exactly what he needs. He closed the distance. He tried to attack, which is good, but he went right into the range of Douglas Lima now being able to grab a hold of him. This is the area that I believe Douglas Lima has the biggest advantage in this fight.
Lima has secured 12 submission wins, including that 5th round rear naked choke.
进入到地面缠斗的佩奇更加狼狈，完全不敢怠慢对道格拉斯的限制。不过道格拉斯正在用尽全力挣脱佩奇所实施的压制。怎么说，道格拉斯也是处于一个优势位置，用不了多久就会挣脱佩奇的束缚，从而让佩奇意识到事情的严重性。14连胜并代表不了什么，只能说佩奇实力强，运气好。八角笼中没有常胜将军，除非连胜之后永远退出擂台，不打任何比赛。
But Anderson has a very accomplished submission game. So does Venom Page. But when you look and say comparative,
man, great hand grappling here by Page.
Absolutely beautiful control of the wrist. Page has been able to stop everything Douglas Lima wants to do here. You even see Douglas starting to look towards rolling that elbow over through the center gap right onto the top of Venom Page.
被压制的佩奇根本不敢轻举妄动，只能控制着道格拉斯的手臂等待回合时间结束。除此之外，佩奇任何动作都做不了，不然道格拉斯绝对会让佩奇感受一下柔术的魅力。
His position, meanwhile, like Page is content to just keep Lima neutralized and see if the referee's going to stand them up, although we are now in the final 10 seconds. The clock, of course, did not matter, but it appears that Lima's going to ride out this round in the close guard of Michael Venom Page. Round 2 is straight ahead.
Stop!
Unofficial scorecard. An opportunity to advance.
第2回合开始了，重新回到站立的佩奇感觉自己又醒了， 直接就把矛头转向了道格拉斯。刚才在地面缠斗的时候，佩奇可不是这么说的。回到站立这么狂，进入到地面缠斗就跟个小绵羊一样，人人宰割。道格拉斯可是一位身经百战的拳坛老将，不出动作是不出动作。一旦让道格拉斯打出一波有效进攻，恐怕佩奇的脑袋不够道格拉斯打。
And there's a jumping attack by Page.
Page needs to take advantage right now. Douglas he's not quite at 100%.
嚣张的佩奇终于得到了制裁，道格拉斯只用了一腿3拳就把佩奇打成了竹竿，躺得笔直的同时还帮助佩奇还进入到了休眠舱进行睡觉。也许正义会迟到，但永远不会缺席。佩奇非但没有完成15连胜，并且还丢失了14连胜。赛前多嚣张，赛后就有多狼狈，这就属于典型的没挨过社会的毒打。天狂必有雨，人狂必有祸。